of Duty Black Ops Cold War is set between Black Ops 1 and 2. It's a sequel to the original, not a reboot like last year's Modern Warfare, and given that it's been 10 years since Black Ops, I'll bet you forgot a bunch of what happened in that game. This video is going to update a previous story breakdown we did and give you new information to get you ready for Black Ops Cold War.
Are you serious right now?
Don't get him started.
Nah. Hold on, let me set the record straight.
Here we go.
The main story of Black Ops. When you reduce all the noise and flashing numbers, the plot of Call of Duty Black Ops 1 is pretty straightforward. It's a story about a man undergoing two competing brainwashing programs. One to work for Russia and kill an American president, and the counter-programming to kill the Russian military leaders responsible for the brainwashing in the first place. The entire rest of the story is just about who he does and doesn't kill.
Revenge! Mason, no!
The players. Alex Mason, a CIA officer, is captured in Cuba after a failed attempt on the life of Fidel Castro during the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs was a real-life botched operation to train Cuban exiles and land them back in Cuba to overthrow Castro. Black Ops builds off of the military disaster that ensued, and in its story, Castro sets up a trap to capture high-level Americans who could get close to key American leaders. Mason is taken and sent to a Russian labor camp called Vorkuta in order to be made into a sleeper agent through an experimental brainwashing program run by Russian Major General Nikita Dragovich. Dragovich's plan is to send sleeper agents back to the United States and trigger them at the right time to do very bad things like kill the president. The pre-programmed trigger is to be broadcast off of a ship called Rusalka through a series of mysterious numbers. Mason.
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Mason ends up being very resistant to the brainwashing program and at one point is given up as a failure. That's when Viktor Reznov, who fought for Russia during World War II and was betrayed by Dragovich, makes his move. He messes with Mason's programming and sends him to kill his own rivals, Dragovich, Kravchenko, and Steiner.
All must die.
By the end of Black Ops 1, Reznov seems to have come out on top. Sort of. Mason kills both the Nazi scientist Steiner and the Russian commander Dragovich, but it is heavily implied, although not confirmed, that he may have also been involved in killing President John F. Kennedy, which was his original programming. It's also very likely that Viktor Reznov never actually made it out of the labor camp Vorkuta, and he died at this moment in the story, and only lives on in Mason's head. I guess that's one way of not having to pay for Gary Oldman to come back.
There! On the ledge! Shoot him!
What you need to know for Black Ops Cold War.
Black Ops Cold War mostly takes place around 1981, but has multiple flashbacks. One of those will be set in 1968 during the Vietnam War, the year that Black Ops 1 ended with some cliffhangers. So what happened in 1968? For starters, Frank Woods, a main character who you fight alongside in Black Ops 1, is presumed dead after saving your life. We know from later Black Ops games that he was actually captured and sent to the infamous torture prison known as the Hanoi Hilton. We have never seen how he managed to escape, but we do know he was then moved to Da Nang as a prisoner of war until at least 1972. Given Woods is a central character in Cold War, we're looking forward to either finding intel or hearing some salty jokes from him on what really happened.
We're just with you. You should be concerned.
Alex Mason, who is also in Cold War, is still affected by the numbers program and continues to rely on Woods to be his, quote, anchor to reality. The end of Black Ops 1 plainly states the numbers program had much more to it than just a Nova 6 chemical weapons plot, and there are more sleeper agents. Perseus knows about Vorkuta and is definitely interested in these agents. Expect to find some more information and references to Mason's brainwashing and the numbers program.
Crossbow bolt.
Kravchenko, who was on the list of people Mason was supposed to kill, is also still alive. Previously, you've only encountered him in active war zones, but now you'll get a chance to see what he's like in an office setting when he's not physically trying to stomp your face in. He's definitely not going to die, however, because that happens later in the series.
That doesn't sound too Soviet of you, brother.
What we know about Cold War's plot.
The main part of Cold War takes place in 1981, which is 13 years after Black Ops 1 and the failure of the numbers program, but the Soviet Union hasn't given up plotting to bring down America and have infiltrated America's nuclear programs. However, Cold War does not take place in America and is almost entirely focused on Cold War Europe, as an alliance of international spy agencies work to thwart a new plot from Russia. Although Mason, Woods, and Jason Hudson are in Cold War, a cast of new characters are also hunting Perseus, including a CIA officer named Russell Adler. Lead writer Murray Kraft said that players are supposed to question his intentions, and we know the game has multiple endings, so keep an eye on that guy. Expect to encounter him in the 1980s and in a number of flashbacks to learn what he was up to. The other new characters are Eleazar or Lazar from the Israel Defense Forces, Helen Park from MI6, and Lawrence Sims, a CIA officer who was also in the Vietnam War. You'll get to know these characters not only through missions but through talking to them at the safe house. The safe house also seems to contain a lot of intel on Black Ops 1, with files on deceased villain Dragovich, references to the numbers program, snippets about the Kennedy assassination that Mason may or may not have done, and other puzzles. A lot of this comes from collecting intel during missions. This may mean stopping in the middle of a firefight to take pictures or pick up files. Make sure to fully explore the safe house and solve its puzzles. Some of the things you do in the safe house, as well as optional objectives in missions and the 2 optional side missions on the evidence board, will impact the ending. Some of those items have really big impacts. We're not going to tell you which ones or how they change things, so don't worry. Missing in our playthrough was Joseph Bowman's kid, William Bowman, who was the hacker that took players through an alternate reality game called Pawn Takes Pawn, leading up to the launch of Cold War. He doesn't seem to be in the actual game, or at least not yet. So what loose ends from Black Ops 1 would you like to see come up in Cold War? Let us know in the comments below, and if you want to know more about Cold War, we've got a review, gameplay, and many more features coming your way, so thanks for watching.